Bonjour, je m'appelle Wee.
Bonjour, je m'appelle Jessica.
Jessica, do you know anything about the historical background of NBT hardware?
I remember a woman standing on top of a barricade and holding a French flag. Did it have anything to do with the French Revolution?
The story of Mr. Harper begins in 1815, more than 2 decades after the start of the French Revolution. To better understand that, it's better to trace back to 1789, during the French Revolution.
I remember now, the French Revolution of 1780. So, the French Revolution was a deep-rooted revolt by many classes against the whole order of society, while in June, the rebellion of 1832, the young rebels erroneously believed that the masses would rise up and join their cause.
The French government faced a fiscal crisis in the 1780s, and King Louis XVI, an absolute monarch, was criticized for his handling of financial crisis.
The Age of Enlightenment, or simply the Enlightenment or Age of Reason, was a cultural movement of intellectuals in the 17th and 18th centuries, which began first in Europe and later in the American colonies. Its purpose was to reform society using reason, challenge ideas, and grounded in tradition and faith, and like leading philosophies such as Voltaire and Rousseau.
The storming of Bastille set the outbreak of the French Revolution.
On 26th of August, 1789, the Assembly published the Declaration of the Rights of Man and of the Citizen, which comprised a statement of principles.
On 17 January in 1793, Louis was condemned to death for conspiracy against the public liberty and the general safety.
During the next 7 years, the nation underwent a series of coups, famines, wars, and counter-revolutions. During the so-called Reign of Terror, 40,000 people were sent to the guillotine.
The French Revolution was a period of radical social and political upheaval in France that had a lasting impact on French history and more broadly throughout the world.
Old ideas about tradition and hierarchy, of monarchy, aristocracy, and religious authority were abruptly overthrown by new Enlightenment ideas and principles of equality, citizenship, and inalienable rights. The three colors of the French flag are occasionally taken to represent the three elements of the revolutionary motto: liberté, égalité, and fraternité, liberty, equality, and brotherhood.
And Louis Napoleon Bonaparte was the first president of the French Republic, and as Napoleon III, the ruler of the Second French Empire. After losing in the Battle of Waterloo, Napoleon was exiled to the island of the St. Helena.
The monarchy was reestablished, and King Louis XVIII assumed the throne. The story of Les Miserables is set in 1815, near the beginning of the new king's reign. In Les Miserables, the audience witnesses a population plagued by decades of oppression, warfare, economic strife, famine, and disease. Despite all the revolutionary and changing political parties, the lower classes still have little voice and power. The July monarchy, officially the Kingdom of France, was a liberal constitutional monarchy in France under King Louis Philippe, starting with the July Revolution of 1830.
The June Rebellion, or the Paris Uprising of 1832, was an unsuccessful anti-monarchist insurrection of Parisian Republicans led by student society from June 5 to 6 in 1832.
The author, Victor Hugo, described the rebellion in his novel, Les Miserables.
In Les Miserables, Marius said, "Empty chairs and empty tables, where my friends say no more. The rebellion is better that the people would support their cause. However, they soon realized that no reinforcement would be joining them."
So a few minutes ago, we listened to the song "À la volonté du peuple" from the play Les Miserables. So since you guys don't know any French, and I had some French lesson back in Germany, I would like to somehow teach you the meaning of this song, as you might not have understood it. Next slide, please. So let's first have a look at the title, La volonté du peuple. We need to understand the meanings of two words first. La volonté, which means the will, and le peuple, which means the people or the folk. So, à la volonté du peuple means for the will of people. And if you want, we can just try to speak this together first. À la volonté Du peuple. Yeah, that wasn't too bad. Okay, next slide, please. So this is the whole song. You can see it, and the red mark part is actually repeated. So what I'm going to do is I will teach you this part and this part so we can almost cover the whole song. Next slide, please. Let's have a look. À la volonté du peuple, you've already learned that this means the will, for the will of the people. Et à la santé du progrès, and for the better of development. Remplis ton cœur d'un vin rebelle, fill your heart with a rebel wine or a wine of rebellion. Et à demain, ami fidèle, until tomorrow, my faithful friend. Next. Nous voulons faire la lumière. We want to bring light. Okay, so here we can already start understanding what the song wants to do. It wants to call people to the will of the people, and they want to bring light to something. So let's find out what this actually means. Malgré la masse de la nuit, despite the darkness of the night, pour illuminer notre terre, to illuminate our world. So somehow they think that their situation is dark and they want to bring lightness. Et changer la vie, and change our life. So this song is talking about a really important decision. They want to change life. Next slide, please. And the last part. Il faut gagner à la guerre. So they want to win the war. This is a really important wording of the song. Notre sillon à laborer, or furrow to be plowed. Déployer la miserie, to sweep misery away. So they're not happy is what they're saying here. Pour les bons pays de la paix, for the harvest of peace. So they want to make war in order to win and get peace. Qui danseront de joie, we will dance with joy. Au grand vent de la liberté, in the grand wind of freedom. Okay, next slide. Just to conclude what all this means is that this song somehow expresses the revolutionary thinking of the people during the French Revolution, of what we've just heard in the past presentation. And it somehow calls upon all the people to come together and then jointly fight for freedom and free oppression and somehow win the revolution in order to get peace, liberty, a change in life, and happiness. And this is what the song somehow tells us. Thank you.
Good
afternoon, everyone. We're the Japanese experts. Today we're going to present to you a kind of Japanese culture by drama. And that is to respect teachers and elders. So please enjoy drama. But before we start, let's take a look at the definition of this kind of culture. First thing, that is to respect teachers. Secondly, is to place importance on teachers' teachings and what we do. Next slide. There is an importance of this culture to the Japanese people, and the Japanese people believe that knowledge is from teachers. So that's why our behavior and words should reflect politeness and respect. Now we're going to have our first drama. This drama and the story is fictitious, completely made up by our fellow students. So please enjoy.
はい、皆さん、起立ください。Do and go back to your seats, girl. はい、皆さん、おはよう。マイコさん、where do you go? ニコラさん、no. Okay, students, please take out your textbook. Do you have a textbook with you? Long-san, where is your textbook? Michael-san, where did you go?
I go to the toilet.
Okay, you have to ask for my permission if you want to go to the toilet.
They'll tell me.
Okay, sit down please and take out your textbook. Okay, students, please turn to page 100.
You look like Angry Bird with this pair of red glasses.
What answer is that? Well, you shouldn't comment on teachers' appearance.
But it is a fact that you look like an Angry Bird, so...
Okay, stop that. You shouldn't talk to me like that. Each of them will get a bad name. What was wrong?
You do it yourself.
Behaviors in this drama. First of all, the students criticize the teacher's appearance. Secondly, they did not do the right things at the right time. And thirdly, they tease the teacher. Next slide. They did not pay attention in the lesson. They shouted at the teacher, and they were disrespectful and impolite towards the teacher. Next slide. Now we're going to have the second drama. This drama talks about how we should behave and what we should be doing in our lesson. So please enjoy it.
Hi, 皆さん、おはよう。はい、座ってください。Okay, students, please turn the textbook to page 100. So all of you got the textbook. Good. Okay, today we are going to learn two new words. One is Japanese culture, Nihon bunka. Nihon bunka. Okay, good. Second one is respect, Sonkei. Sonkei. Very good.
May I go to toilet, please?
Michael, you should not disturb the lesson instruction.
I'm so sorry to disturb the class.
Okay, Michael-san, can you go to the toilet later?
Yes.
Okay, so please go after the lesson, please, okay? Okay, good, thank you. Okay, students, let's revise what we have learned today. Anyone remember how to say Japanese culture in Japanese? Okay, Phyllis, please.
Nihon 本家。
Very good. Good job. Okay, let's read together. Nihon bunka. Nihon bunka. How about respect? Okay, 呢個兩層 please. 桑旗。Very good. Exactly. Good job. 係桑旗。桑旗。桑旗。桑旗。Okay. So that is the end of the lesson. 係皆さんにしてください。皆さん、仕事終わりました。ありがとうございます。はい。Yes, you can go to the toilet now.
This is the end of the second drama. You can see two of the behaviors in class in this drama. The students were respectful and polite towards the teacher, they paid attention in class, and they had a serious attitude towards their learning. So, as a conclusion, teachers and elders are important to us, and authentic respect has to be brought from our heart.
我哋而家邀請我哋嘅編劇任浩晶同埋面蘇講幾句説話。
多謝大家。亦都衷心感謝咁多位有份參與今次嘅全賴有我哋今次嘅表演先可以成功。依家就請咁多位一齊進行。
好咁今次咧就好多謝台上面嘅同學啦，真係佢哋好主動啦，好用心去幫手啦。咁其實佢哋嘅行為咧都係體現咗日本文化㗎啦，已經就係好認真啦，精益求精啦，同埋好虛心去學習嘅，咁都好多謝你哋。
Okay, thanks for keeping quiet. Thank you very much for the presentation of the French and Japanese students. Let's give a round of applause. Okay, you will now leave quietly.